Hello, humans, and welcome to the Doing Digital Forum 2025.
Gerd Leonhard, futurist, best-selling author, and the CEO of the Futurist Agency. Gerd, 2 years ago, around this time, when we launched the Doing Digital Forum, we opened it with your powerful video on the exponential change shaping our world. From the very beginning, your insights have influenced us and the direction of our discussion. And welcoming you as the keynote speaker for Doing Digital Forum 25, it's truly special. We are happy to have you here with us, and it means so much.
We are in a spot that means we have to hang on and figure out what the next thing is and go over it together, because the old thing is breaking down, the new thing isn't here. That means opportunity, because the new thing is being built. The new digital currency is being built. The new world based on artificial intelligence is being built. The new education, the new geopolitics. It's a unique opportunity.
I'd like to participate in some smaller countries that are not in the mainstream, because you get new ideas there. Like I went to Kazakhstan a few times, for example, where I found people are really open to change. And there's a lot more willingness to get going and to fix things. Yeah. So when I go to places like America or England or India, there's a lot of debate about things, but there's more opportunity in small places. And I'm very interested to see how a small country can break out and do something completely new. It seems more exciting to me. Also, I think it's necessary to talk about these things outside of the mainstream of Europe, or America, to speak about the future.
Today I want to share 4 simultaneous revolutions. And these all have impact on banking, financial services, and of course money. We're moving from a world that was basically bipolar, the Soviet Union, America, to one polar, unipolar, America. And now that's over. You know what that means for money? For currencies, for the dominance of the dollar? The polarity of America is finishing.
First, we have a revolution in geopolitics. So that means all of a sudden Europe is becoming bigger again. America is reorganizing, to say like this. China and India are growing. So all of a sudden we have a multipolar world, a world with many countries who want to be running things, not just one country. So it's not one polar, but multipolar. And then we have the digital innovation, which goes primarily right now about machines that can do the work of humans, intelligent machines. And that will change the future of work. It will change what people do, how we work and how we live, mostly to the good, but also potentially difficult things, change of work. The third one is the climate emergency, which is a big deal for this region, because the warmer things get, people come up north, and they will migrate to different places. And the fourth one is this change of economic logic. So younger people want something more than just more profit, more money, more growth. They tend to be more interested in the larger view, more people, planet, purpose, not just profit. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the shift, because it used to be primarily America running the global agenda, and that is ending now. It had to end eventually, but now with the new administration in America, they're focusing on their own benefit. So that means that Europe will grow to be more independent. I think for Armenia that means more trade, more opportunity with those other countries like the European Union, potentially a convergence also. There will be a new Russia eventually, probably not so far away, not dozens of years, but maybe 5 or so. There will be a new change in China. So lots of opportunity for a small country in this region to reorganize. Also because the oil economy is shrinking. So the future will not be about oil and gas. It will be about ideas, about digital things, right? About intelligence, about technology, and about other things, because oil and gas is killing us, right? So we're shrinking the oil and gas economy. We have to get away from this old logic. The logic of the past was about capitalism, socialism, populism, communism. These things are all the past. And now there's a new logic, which is about how do we create a future that's good for people? How do we collaborate? How do we solve big problems? Water, food, energy, diseases, right? And there's many, many things that are good for small countries to get involved with, because it's no longer just a power play between one or two or three major powers like Soviet Union and America. Before 1991, it was really only two powers, right? It was Russia and that was America. And now it's like this. I think the geopolitical part, of course, it's very hard to say exactly what happens here, but suffice to say it will not be like it was. So for a long time we had stability with the two poles, USSR and America, and all of a sudden that's like completely open, right? And the other one is machines that do what humans used to do. That will change our work. Maybe we can work less, maybe we can make more money without working so much. And maybe people will have more children because they can be more at home, things like that. And then of course the climate emergency. So every country has to deal with reorganizing the entire infrastructure to be green and sustainable and to develop new products to protect against climate. The future of money clearly is the first point that money is going digital, right? So like everything, the car is going digital, we drive the self-driving car, the books are digital, the films are digital. So money goes digital means that the bank of the future is a technology company, right? And not a financial company. And the financial thing is just part of something else. So as the currency goes digital, we use digital tools. We need to have a lot of privacy regulation and understanding what happens there. We need protection also, and we need the government to make smart investments. I think we need to have better education to focus on the things that machines can't do. Like machines can have every logic and solve every practical problem, but they don't have emotions, they don't have a body. So they live in a world of data, logic, right? And we need to have work that is not about logic. So imagination, intuition, design, understanding, solving problems. With machines, it's very difficult for a machine to solve a complex problem if it's not just about logic, right? So we need to focus on a new kind of education that is probably more about human-only work, right? Basically collaboration, inventing, and so on. It's very important, I think, that the government understands where the changes are going, which jobs are going away. So, for example, we shouldn't have 1 million engineers and programmers when the computer can program themselves, right? So we need to have people who are above the programming to have those kind of skills. And the government also has to make sure it protects the citizens against too much technology. Like, if the artificial intelligence knows everything about you, and then you don't get to buy the house because you don't qualify, like the social scoring and all, practical things, privacy and those kind of things. So there's a big piece that we can do, like to understand what's coming, but also a big piece that the government has to do, which is to invest in the right place. So right now our investment need to move into the green energy, the green future, not the fossil fuel energy, into a different kind of education, and to make people more aware of technology also. Education is like an elevator, you get into the elevator, you go up, if you don't have education, you stay in the same floor, So governments need to do that. I see that and of course in Germany, in Scandinavia, very big. So we need to create a new social structure, because maybe in 10 years we only work half the time, but for the same money, because machines do all of the hard work.
AI is a power tool for us, but we can shoot ourselves by relying too much on it, by not checking the result, by switching off, not thinking about it, by getting lazy. The worst thing about technology is that it may lead us to be utterly lazy. Power tool means we have to use it. Our jobs will not be replaced by machines, but with people with better tools. Machines can be intelligent, but they're not conscious. We do not want machines that don't have consciousness and human agency to decide for us. We want them to help us decide. If you work like a robot will take your job. From 1901, Supreme Court judge, one machine can do the work of 50 ordinary men. He talked about men. This was 1901, right? So I'll add the woman to it. No machine can do the work of an extraordinary woman. We have to become more extraordinary. You have to make a choice about the future. You're going to be over here. We cannot afford to go into the future based on fear. We have to listen what the future is saying. Because the future will be like this in a radical new way very quickly. We always think that the future is so far away, but climate emergency isn't about 2040, it's about 2030.
We're generally not really ready. That goes for almost every country. Because we have a stock market that's based on the old logic, the logic of saying, okay, you make products, you ship the products, you have services, right? But now all of a sudden, the logic is changing. Right? So the stock market, like the richest company in the world is Aramco, the Saudi Arabian oil company, right? Followed by Apple, Microsoft, and so on. But so companies that make very traditional things like oil and gas, they're the richest company. In the future, companies who have the biggest ideas and the biggest technology, they will be the biggest companies, right? So there's a lot of changes that have to happen before we are ready for example, self-driving cars or robots or all of those things, or surgery with a robot, things like that. I think we need to have on a very simple level some practical agreements about what is allowed and what is not allowed. Like, for example, it should not be allowed that if you want a job, you have to do an interview with a software in front of a camera, and the software would estimate who you are, like a lie detector, just to get a job, I think that should not be legal, because basically you're forcing people to be subject to the machine, right? Or we should not allow machines to be used to discriminate against people by their location or by knowing their habits, or like we have in China, And so we should not allow a technology to become overbearing, but to become a good tool so we can prosper, not become the servants of technology. The change is probably inevitable, but it's like all technology. We can choose to use a good part and not the bad part, or we can use it all and then we have many bad parts. For example, we can use AI to make better business and to save money, for example, pollution, right? Or we can use AI to make a self-killing drone, for a super army, So we have to make choices. It's not inevitable that we have the bad choices. So we have to be wise about the choices.
There are no winners in a race to artificial general intelligence. There are only losers. The only winner in the race to artificial intelligence to dominate the world in military and business terms is the AI itself. The chairman of the FCC said last year, it is very likely we're going to have a global stock market crash because of the role of artificial intelligence. So we're going to need to figure out safeguards and regulations to figure out how we can make this positive. Otherwise, we may live in a world like this, the beautiful world of AGI. This was done by AI itself, of course. There's one issue here, right? You see the issue? There's no humans. So we don't want to live in a world where, we become sort of like pets to the AI. Let's stay positive. As you see the future, so you act. As you act, so you become. We think of the future as opportunity, then we're open to it. If we think of it as a disaster, we're closing down. And we can see that, of course, reflected in so many ways. Choose the good future. A famous philosopher once said, to do good is to generate happiness. To do evil is to generate pain.